Listen closely, because what an alien revealed about the beginning of the apocalypse is not a warning about the distant future. It is a diagnosis of a collapse already underway. And according to this being, humanity has far less time than anyone imagines. At 2:58 a.m., Dr. Elias Morano, a 46-year-old trauma surgeon with 2 decades of experience, stepped out of St. Luke's Hospital after a night that felt like a lifetime. 7 patients saved, 3 lost. One of them a teenager whose mother's screams still echoed in his skull hours later. He moved like someone half alive, dragging exhaustion behind him like a second shadow. His chest was tight, his eyes glassy, his hands trembling slightly, not from fear, from emptiness. For months, Elias had felt himself fading, not physically, emotionally. The grief of families, the gratitude of survivors, the chaos of emergency rooms, none of it registered anymore. His heart behaved like a desert, dry, silent, uninhabited. He leaned against his car, closed his eyes, and whispered the same sentence he had repeated for weeks. "I don't feel anything, not anymore." And then, something shifted in the air. The temperature dropped, the parking lot lights flickered. A windless current of pressure pressed against his skin. When he opened his eyes, a figure stood between 2 empty ambulances, tall, human-shaped, but glowing from within like moonlit glass. Its steps were silent, its form weightless, and the light surrounding it pulsed with a rhythm almost like a heartbeat. Elias didn't run, didn't scream, didn't move. His mind simply concluded, either I'm hallucinating or something has come for me. The being stopped a few meters away, its eyes vast and depthless. And then, without speaking, its voice entered his mind. Dr. Elias Morano, 20 years of saving lives, 10 years of emotional decline, 3 years since your last moment of genuine joy. You function perfectly, but inside you are dying. Elias exhaled sharply, not in fear, in recognition, because the alien wasn't wrong. The being's presence carried no threat, no aggression, only a weight, like standing beneath a storm that had not yet broken. You are not hallucinating, and I am not here for your body. I am here because your species has begun its quiet end. The words struck with clinical finality, like a terminal diagnosis delivered without anesthesia. Elias whispered, "The world hasn't ended." The alien responded, "Not visibly, not dramatically, but the essence of humanity is collapsing, silently and rapidly, and your emotional death is a symptom of a global decline." A pulse of light rippled through its form. The parking lot shimmered, and suddenly Elias was no longer standing on asphalt, but in a chamber of smooth, curved surfaces, the interior of a ship that breathed faintly like a living organism. Nothing felt metallic, nothing felt mechanical. Everything pulsed with organic, luminous life. "Sit," the alien instructed. A seat shaped itself from the wall, shifting to match the contours of his body. Elias sat, breath unsteady, but mind sharply awake. "What I show you now," the alien conveyed, "is the true apocalypse, the one humanity does not see because it expects fire instead of silence." The chamber dissolved into visions, Earth spinning silently in space, and then zoomed into human history, unfolding like a living tapestry. Primitive humans gathered around fire, laughing, crying together, building bonds stronger than survival itself. "Your species thrived," the alien explained, "not because of strength or intelligence alone, but because of emotional depth, empathy, connection, the ability to feel another's experience as your own. Visions shifted, villages forming, communities cooperating, people nurturing, grieving, celebrating. Then suddenly the images jumped to the modern world. Cities glowing with screens, crowds moving in isolation, faces blank, eyes empty, people endlessly scrolling through suffering, war, tragedy, death, without reacting, without feeling. This, the alien said, is the collapse, emotional atrophy, empathy erosion, not by catastrophe, but by overstimulation, disconnection, fear, and unprocessed trauma. Elias watched children glued to screens, couples eating without speaking, families sharing a home but not a life. What you call normal, the alien warned, is the early stage of species-level extinction. The words tightened the air. Humanity's emotional capacity is fading. When 60 to 65% of your population loses the ability to feel deeply, the point of no return is reached. Cooperation collapses, compassion disappears, and what remains, a vision appeared, of people walking like animated shells, functional but empty.
Elias felt heat in his chest, fear, or something close enough to it that it almost startled him. "How long?" he asked. The alien's light dimmed. "For humanity, 15 Earth years. For you, 3 to 5. Elias steadied his breath as the alien focused its attention directly on him. "You have lost 82% of your emotional capacity," it said. "Not through fault, but through survival. Years of trauma, pressure, disconnection, and forced numbness have carved you hollow." It projected images. Elias after long shifts, isolating himself. Elias avoiding friends. Elias sitting across from his ex-wife, expression blank as she cried. Elias with his son, unable to form words, unable to feel the love he intellectually knew he had. "This is not strength," the alien said softly. "It is progressive emotional death." Elias's throat tightened. For the first time in years, he felt the urge to cry, a ghost of emotion, weak but present. "You still have 18% left," the alien continued. "Small, but enough to reverse the decline, if you choose it. But your window is narrow." The chamber shifted again. 7 glowing symbols materialized around him, each pulsing with quiet power. "These," the alien said, "are the practices that restore your capacity to feel. Not philosophies, not rituals. Daily, practical actions that reawaken what has gone dormant." The first symbol brightened. 1. When an emotion appears, even faintly, pause. Do not bury it. Allow 10 seconds of awareness. This act alone begins the reconnection. The second symbol pulsed. 2. 1 face-to-face connection each week. No screens, no distractions. Someone you listen to entirely, and someone who listens to you. Images appeared of Elias and his son sitting in silence during their visits. "Begin with him," the alien said. A third symbol illuminated. 3. Release stored trauma. Choose 1 memory. Write it fully, not medically, but emotionally. Then speak it aloud. Sound externalizes aim. A fourth symbol rose. 4. Reintroduce sensory presence. Eat without distractions. Walk without headphones. Let the senses unclog the pathways that lead to emotion. A fifth symbol glowed. 5. Reduce digital overstimulation. 1 hour each day with all devices off. A reset for the emotional system. A sixth symbol flickered steadily. 6. Allow vulnerability. When something hurts, admit it. When something matters, speak it. Emotional truth is fuel for reconnection. A final symbol shone brightest of all. 7. Choose love deliberately. Not romantic love, human love. Acts of kindness, moments of compassion, silent acknowledgement of another's humanity. These choices rebuild the collective field. The symbols dimmed into nothing. 15% of humanity practicing these 7 actions is enough to prevent global collapse, but the majority will not awaken unless individuals like you awaken first. The chamber faded. The parking lot reappeared. The night was still, silent, real. The alien stood before him one final time. Your species expects fire, but the apocalypse is a quiet suffocation, a dimming of the human heart. It stepped back, its form dissolving into pale silver light. Dr. Morano, you have not yet died inside, but the clock is unforgiving. The choice begins now. And then the being vanished, leaving only silence, the cold air, and Elias' trembling breath. For the first time in years, he felt the weight of something powerful pressing against his chest. Not numbness, not emptiness, not routine, but a spark, a beginning. He straightened, exhaled, and whispered into the night, I choose to feel again. And with that, the quiet war against the apocalypse began. Not in the world, but inside the heart of one man.